to my channel and welcome to Bozeman, Montana. Oh yes, I am so excited to be here. I'm gonna be doing some ice climbing in training and preparation for me to summit Mount Everest in May 2022. Thank you so much everybody who's given me so much support in this journey. If you haven't already followed my TikTok and my Instagram, Rebecca-Louise Fitness, I've got lots of quick short videos on there as well. I'm also getting to meet some of you girls here too, and I've got 5 tips for you guys today to help you understand why to get outside of our comfort zone, right? Oftentimes we know that we should, but why is really the reason that's gonna help us make that to action and make it happen. And plus I'm gonna be sharing with you some really fun stories about what it's like climbing on the ice and a few times that I fell. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and here are my 5 tips. And so I'd never done ice climbing before. And I'm like an adventure, thrill seeker. I'm not gonna be jumping out of an airplane again anytime soon. I'm not interested in bungee jumping, but I do love physical activity. There's something really like amazing of accomplishment when you've got yourself out into the cold, into nature, and you've done something that's really pushed your body. So this week was my ice climbing training. I've already been to Ecuador, did some altitude work in the snow. I've been to the Alps with my guide Kenton. And this week was the week that I was gonna be doing some ice climbing. And it's really crazy how the universe works, because last year I was meant to do 2 trips and they got cancelled. This trip I was meant to go with a guy called David, and he broke his foot, and so we got this guy called Adam. And Adam was just amazing. In fact, I didn't even know this, but I bumped into him in Ecuador 2 years before. He was one of the guides there. He remembered me. I don't remember who he was, but I remember the conversation that I was having in this hut with telling people like how bloody cold my feet were, right? Because it's all about staying warm and how can you keep your body warm. So he was our guide for this week. And it was just incredible. And I can't come into this video saying that I was really fearful about ice climbing, because if I was really fearful, I wouldn't be climbing Everest. But there were a few times on the ice where I was like, holy shit, like what the fuck am I doing? Like, holy shit, like I'm on a wall. I know I've got a rope on me, but it's still like a little bit eerie. And the last day we did this 100-foot ice wall. Now, I was feeling pretty confident because I had like 2 days before, and even my first go, I mean, I could not get the swing, I could not get the technique. And it reminded me, like, keep thinking, like, keep listening to your coach. You know, I talk about this all the time on the podcast. We all need a coach to help us in every avenue. And if I'd gone on the ice going, no, I know how to do this, I can figure this out, right? Not listening to 25 years of experience from my incredible guide, right? So really had to get into that student role and listen to what he was talking about, how to climb. And so the first time that I did it, I tell you what, I did not look very graceful at all. And the funny thing is that my guide is just going up the wall without any ropes. He's just climbing, right? That's what he does. He is the one to go up to the top, pop the rope in, and then abseil back down. And obviously I'm going up there with a rope. I'm not going out there with nothing. Otherwise I would have killed myself over the last 3 days, because I definitely did fall a few times, but the rope caught me. And so the first time I did it, I'm like swinging around, I'm like rebounding against the ice wall. Like, I mean, like I just looked like this, like, I don't know, this like floppy thing just like hanging out on the side of the mountain. And he was great. He was like, no problem. Like, let's think about this. Like, let's see how it can work for you. Maybe we need to adjust the rope a little bit longer. Maybe we need to create like, you know, a different flow. My feet were coming up too high. He was like, just bring your feet down a little bit. And so it's all about slight adjustments. You know, when life kind of comes along and we think that everything is going wrong, it could just be one slight thing that changes everything for us. And so I was starting to get like the hang of it. I was getting in my groove. We went on a couple of different ice walls, and then the last day we did this 100-foot one. And you know, I'm feeling like, okay, I got this. I was feeling good. And as you're getting higher up, you're like looking down, and I don't look down. Like I can kind of like look around, I'm looking where my feet are going, but I do have a little bit of a fear of heights. Like I'm not just like, oh, this is super easy. But I didn't have any fear when I fell from the rope. In fact, there's a great video of me. I kind of fall, I flop against the thing, and about 4 seconds after I go, woo, or something like that. Like it wasn't even like a big like thing, and because I trusted the rope. But there was this one moment, second time that we went up this 100-foot wall, and this is talking about getting outside your comfort zone, and this is why it's so important, is that we came up to this point, and it was almost like you were going through like a really thin tunnel to get to the top. And I was probably about, I would say, 4 minutes from the top by the time I'd done like maybe like 4 more different ice axes and pulled myself up, right? Because basically you hit ice axes in, you got your toes in the wall with your crampons, you lift yourself up and you go back up again. And I had like this tiny bit to go, and I was right at the top, and I just felt kind of stuck and confined and like a little bit claustrophobic. And I was like kind of looking down. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, I'm almost there. Like if my arm was just a little bit longer, I could reach the top, the carabiner. And in my head, I go, I'll just tell them I'm at the top. Like, I know I can get to the top, so why would I bother doing it? Like, I know I can get there, I could do it, but like, nah, I'm just gonna come back. And I was like, no, Rebecca, like, you can do this. Every single step counts. And you know, I have the tattoo on my foot that said every single step counts, and it reminds me, it's great. I didn't realize that, 21 years old when I had this tattoo, how much it would really be helping me when I'm like climbing Everest. Like you never know. But I looked down at my feet. I remember there's a tattoo on my foot that said every step counts. And I just like literally edged myself up. And that was the part that got me outside my comfort zone, right? And so often in life, we do a whole stretch of things. And then it's that last little bit that we go, I know I could do it, but I'm not gonna do it because I know I can do it, but then we don't do it and then we don't grow through that next part. Had I not done that final little top part, I wouldn't have actually got outside of my comfort zone that whole day. Now, yes, a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, she went ice climbing. That's like, would be so outside of my comfort zone. And yes, it is a little bit scary, and there's moments where I was like, but that right moment at the top, that was my comfort zone. So you get to think about like, what is your comfort zone? And everybody's comfort zone is different. You might get to an ice wall and you want to do like 4 bits of it, and then you come down, right? That's getting you outside of your comfort zone. But if you don't know, and if you don't actually tap into it, you're never going to grow to that next position. So I want to tell you like 5 reasons like why I think it's so important to get outside of your comfort zone, and why it was so important for me to do that very, very last part, because really from the whole 3 days, the biggest thing that I took away was that last part. That is the part that helped me grow to the next level. That's the part that's gonna help me when I'm on Everest going, oh my goodness, can I do this? Because I'm gonna remember back that moment. So, number 1, life experiences. Life experiences and adding things to your resume is a great way to go, hey, what do I want to do that's going to get me outside of my comfort zone? What's going to be able to happen that I can build my life resume? Obviously, Mount Everest is a big thing for me this year. It is getting me outside of my comfort zone, and it is a massive life experience. But you want to think about like, what is your life experience, right? Something that's going to get you outside of your comfort zone is going to give you an incredible life experience that you will never forget. Whether it's running a 5K, whether it's going to, traveling to somewhere that you've never traveled before. I have a lot of my BTS coaches who had never traveled until we started hosting retreats. That's a big life experience, and it's out of your comfort zone. A lot of times, big life experiences are outside of your comfort zone. So if you want to have something that's big and really like, intense for that year, something that you did, you want to be able to get outside of your comfort zone. I know one of my BTS coaches, like just flying over to California, for her was like a big, big deal. That is a big life experience that was also her getting outside of her comfort zone. But guess what? She had a lot of fun. So that's my number 1 thing. Number 2 is progress equals happiness. And Tony Robbins says this all the time, and I loved it because I was talking to my guide about this, and we were chatting, and I was saying, he was asking me like, why do I want to climb Everest? And a lot of people want to climb Everest to get to the top and to get the photo and to be like, okay, I've climbed Everest, I got the photo, kind of like the trophy, the glory hunters. And I said to him, honestly, it's the journey of getting there. Now, I've created lots of things in life, I've done multiple things, and once I've got to that goal, it's never really like, oh my goodness, amazing, right? But it's the progress, it's the grind, it's the grit, it's the journey, it's the experience of getting there that actually makes it just feel like, wow, right? Progress equals happiness. And it was funny because that first day, when I'd gone up the first time, and I would just look like I was, the most ungraceful ice climber that you could imagine. Just imagine someone just hanging from a rope, flying from side to side. And then the second time, we kind of like changed it up a bit. And the third time, like I got better. And he was over to the side of me, like hanging off the wall, we're probably like 30 feet up. And he goes, progress equals happiness. I was like, absolutely, I've made progress and I'm feeling happy. And we were just like laughing because it's so true. That first time that I did it, I could have got frustrated. I could have got angry. I could have said, oh, I can't do this. It's too difficult. But I didn't think like that, because when you look at things differently, the things that you look at will change. I started to think, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong that's not helping me get this goal right now? How can I adjust? What do I need to learn to be able to help me do this? I didn't get frustrated. I didn't get angry. I just thought, oh, this is a puzzle that I get to solve. And that's all life is. If you're in a relationship, if you're in a job right now, if you're trying to grow a business, it's just a puzzle that you get to solve. And the progress of adding those puzzle pieces together is going to build more happiness, right? Because as I started to get my footwork right, I started to become a little bit more happy because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm finally getting this. And so progress equals happiness. So when you are trying to get outside of your comfort zone, it's not about getting to the goal in a day. It's not about getting there like immediately. It's about enjoying the journey with every single step. And those steps get you outside of your comfort zone. He was giving me a different technique to use. I was like, oh, this doesn't feel natural. Obviously, I've never ice climbed before, so it's not gonna feel natural. It's gonna feel uncomfortable. If you've never opened a business before, it's gonna feel uncomfortable, right? But that progress of just learning those techniques and being able to pull my body up and learning like how my muscles work on a new platform, right? Not doing just a normal home workout anymore, and climbing up a wall with some ice axe, I was able to learn that. So remember that progress equals happiness. So if you're not progressing in your life right now, you're not getting outside your comfort zone, it's gonna have a direct reflect of how you are feeling. All right, number 3, and I'm stealing this one from my guide, right? Getting outside your comfort zone can be fun. And there's 2 different types of fun that he was telling me about. Number 1 is the fun like in the moment, right? When you're like on the ice wall, you're feeling good, you're relaxed, and you're like, this is so fun. Maybe it's for you when you turn up to your workout, you just put your brand new, pair of Rebecca-Louise yoga pants on, you got your new resistance bands, like that's the fun part, right? I'm ready, I feel amazing. The second thing of fun is like the actual the workout itself, right? We know that at the end of the workout, it's gonna be so worth it. The bath at the end of the workout feels so much better than if you hadn't done the workout and you just have a bath, right? It's that grind. It's that like getting towards the goal. For me, it's the ice climbing, the walk, the hike to the ice climb one day was like an hour, right? And I was in pain. I was cold. My feet were wet. My hands were cold. And it's like a fun kind of pain because you know what you're getting for the outcome. But that's the same when you're getting outside your comfort zone. You can't just have the first bit of fun all the time. You have to have the second part of fun to be able to grow and to be able to get what you want, but there's a way that you can think about it. And I remember, even when I was in pain on the ice wall, I was like, this is fun. This is fun. This is fun, right? And even if you're going through like a business and you're like, you got to reach out to more people, you got to talk to people to grow it. You're like, this is uncomfortable, but it's fun, right? You start to give your mind into this can be fun. This can be enjoyable. How can I make it fun? And getting outside of your comfort zone to do those things and to know that some of it is just going to be part of the journey, right? There's the fun part. There's the number 1 type of fun, number 2 type of fun. You're kind of getting that goal at the end, but it's the journey to get there. Like Everest, it's going to be painful. It's going to be so painful, right? There's going to be times where it's fun. We're sitting in a tent and we're having a great conversation and we're eating hot food. And then there's going to be times where it's the second kind of fun where it's like we are in our 6 hour just walking up the same mountain, crampon by crampon, putting our poles in, and it's going to be painful. It's a different kind of fun, right? Because we're working towards a bigger goal. So just remember that when you're building something new and you're trying to get outside of your comfort zone, there's going to be those 2 types of fun. All right, number 4, those big things that used to really scare you become a lot smaller, right? So when I was doing the ice climbing, bringing it back to that, I'm climbing up, and that last little part that was really, really challenging for me, now I've overcome that. The bit at the beginning, when I go back to do that, is going to become even easier. How many times have you put an Instagram post up and you're like, oh my goodness, that was the scariest thing I've ever had to do. Oh my goodness, I didn't even it was terrifying. And then all of a sudden your coach is like, hey, to build your business, now you got to get on Instagram stories and speak. And you're just like, oh my goodness, no, I do not want to do this. This sounds terrible, right? So, but you do it. And then that very first post that you did seems really easy. Right? Maybe it's becoming a workout, right? You're like, oh my goodness, Rebecca-Louise is asking me to hold a plank, right, for 60 seconds. And you're just like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do it? Then the next time, I'm like, hey guys, what we're going to do is we're going to hold a side plank for 60 seconds. And you're like, no, my body can't do this. And you do it, and you go back to that normal plank, and you're like, man, I can do this for 2 minutes. right? So when you get outside your comfort zone, it makes those things that you did previously seem so much easier, right? And then you just grace through life, like things that used to be really challenging and now easier. So how would you feel about getting outside your comfort zone to make the things that you're already doing seem a lot more streamlined and easier? For example, some of my BTS coaches who flew over the very first time to our retreat, they came with their partner. They came with somebody, right? Then the next time they were like, I don't even need them to come. I want to go by myself. I want to have a girls trip by myself, because it became easier. You got to get outside your comfort zone in the very first part so that those things that were more challenging at the beginning become a lot easier, right? And then number 5, like, where is your trajectory? It's so funny. I was able to meet one of, amazing community this morning in Bozeman, Montana, and, just talking about people's potential. Now, everybody has potential. And, my life changed last year where I heard this word trajectory, because everybody, by the way, has potential. How many times have you've said to somebody, oh my goodness, this girl, she's got so much potential. She's going to be amazing in this business. Oh my goodness, this guy, he's going to be amazing. Like, I love him. And like, he's got so much potential, right? It's all about potential. Until you get outside of your comfort zone and you start doing the things that you know that you get to do to be where you want to be, that is where your potential starts to become your trajectory. So your trajectory is where you're actually going. Everybody has potential. Everybody on this planet has potential. It's just if they choose to execute that potential. But instead of looking at your potential, look at your trajectory. What are you doing right now that's getting you outside of your comfort zone? Because that is what's going to help you with your trajectory. If you want to stay inside of your comfort zone, this is why it's so important to get outside of your comfort zone. Because you're going to be on a trajectory. You're not going to be on potential. And wouldn't you much prefer to have like this amazing life, this trajectory that you're already on, rather than sitting there going, you know what, I know I can do this. I'm not. I know I've got potential to do it, but I'm not. And the only difference between potential and trajectory is those people getting outside of their comfort zone and actually doing it, which is why getting outside your comfort zone, I'm going to bring it back to that, is so, so important, because it is the difference between someone who has potential and someone who is on a trajectory to get where they want to go. So think about that today when you're like, hey, am I thinking about, do I have potential or am I actually on a trajectory? If you're getting outside of your comfort zone, I'm telling you, you're on a trajectory to where you want to go. You're not sitting there in potential. And if you're sitting there in potential right now, what's the one thing that you get to do right now that's going to bring you out of your comfort zone and get that trajectory to start on going? So I hope that these 5 tips helped you. My training trip here has been unbelievable. I'm going to be documenting my journey as I go through Everest. I'm so excited. I leave around, mid-April, end of April, and going into May. It's about a, 4 to 6 week trip, door to door. I've got an incredible guide. I've got a videographer coming up with me. It's not on a big group. It's going to be a very personalized boutique experience. So I'm going to get to really share with you firsthand what's going on. And I appreciate all your love and support. I know lots of you guys just found out that I got my green card as well. I'll be doing another podcast episode on immigration and what that looked like and the grit and determination to get there, because that is a whole other episode that we get to tap into as well. But again, thank you so much for watching and for listening. And if you feel like there's somebody in your life right now that you're like, hey, I know that if they just tapped into getting outside their comfort zone a little bit more and they understood why, their whole life would change. You could be that hero in someone's life today just by sharing it. So again, thank you so much, everybody. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you on next week's episode. Bye, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed it. Check out some of my other motivational videos here. If you're not already following my podcast, It Takes Grit, go check out that channel for more motivation. I love you guys. And again, thank you so much for all of your love and support. I love you guys. Mwah.